Okay. You wanna play rough? Okay. No. Say hello to my little friend!
We didn't just dump barrels of radioactive waste in the ocean, we did it off the coast of New Jersey. That is so horrifying. I am surprised that Jersey Shore was the title of a light-hearted MTV series and not the name of a harrowing documentary. An entire generation of children was born without thumbs, a phenomenon known to locals as the situation.
A new study by Rutgers researchers is shedding light on autism spectrum disorder. It finds the number of children being diagnosed in parts of New Jersey is rising sharply, but contrary to previous findings, the highest increase is now being seen in kids without intellectual disabilities. Without intellectual disabilities.
The new study shows autism rates in New Jersey 8-year-olds spiked 500% from the year 2000 to 2016, when researchers drilled down in 4 New Jersey counties, Union, Essex, Hudson, and Ocean.
Why do we not have a nuclear toilet? Thing is, we didn't really have a plan for what to do with all the radioactive byproducts that we produce, and this initially led us to some mind-blowingly stupid solutions. For instance, for years, we actually did this.
They loaded the radioactive waste, and it was in barrels, 55-gallon barrels of radioactive waste with concrete poured over it.
It's funny, the ocean don't glow out there outside of Red Bank, New Jersey. Really, because we dumped a lot of barrels out there.
But none of those little changes are enough to explain a 200% increase, a 200% increase.
So to continue the toilet metaphor, we've basically been shitting in bags, leaving them all over the house, and praying that they don't leak.
Hess says the plan is to open more centers as the demand in New Jersey continues to increase.
Very unusual to find a disorder or disability, some health problem increasing so dramatically in a brief period of time.
Associate Professor of Pediatrics Walter Zaharodny has been tracking autism in school districts in 4 New Jersey counties since 2000. The reasons are still unclear as to what may be causing these spikes, but Zaharodny's research shows New Jersey's rate of autism is higher than anywhere else in the U.S.
Shitting in bags, leaving them all over the house, and praying that they don't leak.
It's funny, the ocean don't glow out there outside of Red Bank, New Jersey. Really, because we dumped a lot of barrels out there.
But none of those little changes are enough to explain a 200% increase.
Not all of those barrels sank. In fact, in 1957, when 2 barrels were caught floating off the shore, naval aircraft were summoned to strafe them with machine gun fire until they sank. That's right, they shot barrels full of nuclear waste with machine guns. That has got to be one of the most terrifying sentences ever said out loud.
When I came aboard, the ship was hauling condemned ammunition to designated areas.
It was a beat-up old World War II LST that was only designed to land once on the beaches of Normandy, and that was it. The mission was a dump mission, a garbage scow mission, and we thought like garbage scow sailors.
We knew it was radiation, but we didn't know what radiation was at that time.
Pretty old, pretty on the dirty side. I slept up in the radio shack up on the bridge. In fact, the wheelhouse, I put the foul weather jackets down on the floor and slept on the floor there because it was rank.
It was not properly maintained. As far as I could see, we got minimum maintenance except when we had to keep us seaworthy.
They loaded the radioactive waste, and it was in barrels, 55-gallon barrels of radioactive waste with concrete poured over it. The barrels weighed anywhere from 800 to 1,000 pounds, and we would have to pull them over and then roll them off the ship. What we did when the ship rolled this way, you'd roll the barrels that way. And then when it rolled this way, you'd roll them this way. But there was separate dump teams, one on each side. And then the ammo, they would just stack up here. And they put wire straps around the ammo. And we slept right underneath here, right under the deck. And sometimes those wire bands would break loose, and we'd be sleeping down there and hear those bombs bumping against each other.
We knew pretty much what we were handling. Obsolete weapons, obsolete bombs, the old, even the gun-type ammunition, depth charges, torpedo warheads. Sooner or later, they all had to be disposed of, and I had a first class who had the same explosive ordnance disposal that I received, and he or I had to be on deck when the ship was being loaded to make sure that somebody didn't do something stupid and blow us all off of the map. We had the Geiger counters. Of course, it was relatively new. We didn't have a lot of sophisticated equipment, and we wore dosimeters so that we could keep a record of our exposure to radiation.
And if it turned purple, it meant you had too much radiation. Well, what we would do is we turn in and get a new one at that point. Instead of, stopping the radiation, the doc would just give us a new Rankin badge. We'd snap the Rankin badge on our belt and go about doing what we were doing.
When I was on, there was no badges. There was nothing. No badges, no metering, no showers, no nothing. No information to tell you have to clean up afterwards because it was radioactive. No, nothing. And we never hosed anything down like that. We were done, period.
We joked about it. That was it. It was not a serious thing. It was our job. When it came out, we dumped it. We didn't consider that we were under great risk. We joked about being sterile, that's for sure. We joked about not having to worry about impregnating people, that's for sure. But it wasn't serious stuff. It was just sailor talk.
Usually it's just the barrels and everything and the ammunition, but this huge crate, it's all the way I can describe it on these rollers. And after we cut the bands and all, got on it, pushed it over the side and everything, I hit with a big splash and went right down, and the captain announced from the bridge that it was a disarmed, disassembled atomic bomb. Holy cow. It was unreal, We dumped an atomic bomb here outside with that, New Jersey here.
Earl, New Jersey, that was one of our major stops, right there, right off Sandy Hook. That was a major stop, big naval ammunition depot. In Virginia, we went to St. Julian's Creek, Virginia, which was an NAD up St. Julian's River. We went to Charleston. I believe it was up the Cooper River in Charleston. We went to a couple of places in Boston.
Well, I recall one load of radioactive waste we picked up at the Floyd Bennett Field in New Jersey. We had a leaky barrel, and the trucking company that had the contract to deliver the stuff to the Calhoun County said, we don't want it back, take it out and dump it also.
Safety factors there was zero if you went overboard with the barrel. There was nothing around to throw it in to get you back up out of the ocean. There was nobody out there in a little dinghy to pick you up if you fell overboard. You didn't have no Mae West on for flotation if you fell in. And finally they put that sucker out of commission. And being radioactive, it sort of made me think a little bit.
There may have been individuals who we're more aware of the potential health risks than others. But that we just had a job to do, and we did it. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. If anything, I'm regretful that we didn't know more.
Just can't imagine. What are they doing to clean it up? Or are they just letting it lay there? How are they going about how they resolving that problem?
They didn't hide the fact that it was radioactive material. They did not hide the fact. We knew it was a radioactive dump, okay? We knew that there are potential risks.
It's funny, the ocean don't glow out there outside of Red Bank, New Jersey. Really. Because we dumped a lot of barrels out there. Dumped a lot of barrels.